Good morning. Okay, so yesterday we did a recap on what we've done pretty much in the last 3 weeks. And at the end of that recap, we were looking at solving linear equations. And then I gave you some optional questions. Now, what we're going to do today is those optional questions are today's work. So if you've done those optional questions and you've sent them to me and I've gotten back to you, well, then you don't have anything to do today. If you have not done those optional questions, well, that's what we're doing today. And you have two options. You can either answer them yourself without any help, and I'd encourage you to try and do that, and then come back to this video and just skip through it and look for the answers and check your answers and see maybe where you went wrong, if you did. Or if you're still not sure about linear equations, work along with me in this video. Watch me do a couple of sums, then pause it, try and do some yourself, and then watch it and see where you're going wrong. So again, I always suggest playing this maybe at 1.5 speed or 1.75, maybe even 2, because when I'm doing the math sums, I'm a little bit slower at writing them out. Now I'm talking normal speed now, but for the rest of the video, maybe watch it at 1.7. Okay, so we are going to look at, I think it's about 10 or 15 different sums. So let's get started. The first one here, 1a, let me just do that, there we go. Okay, 1a, let's do that one first. Okay, and I'll just draw a line around this just to keep it separate. So a is x plus 3 equals 12. So we want to find out, we want to solve for x. And here I want this 3 pretty much on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So I can minus 3 here, but because I minus 3 on that side, I also have to minus 3 on the other side. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So they cancel, and then we can move down to the next one. X is equal to 12 minus 3, which is 9. Okay, so that's the answer for A. And I'll just draw a line across there. So B, 3 minus x is equal to 7. Okay, this is a little bit different, but we'll go through it now and we'll do it, okay? So I want the x by itself on this side. So let's bring the 3. We'll bring the 3 across. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to minus 3 on this side and minus 3 on this side. And this minus 3 and this plus 3, they cancel out. And then 7 minus 3 is 4. But look at this. This is a minus x. Minus x is equal to 4. So we want to solve for x, not for minus x. So how can I get rid of this minus? So I can, if I want to make a negative number into a positive number, I can multiply it by a negative number. So if I multiply both sides by minus 1, so what I'll do is I'll just put a bracket here and a bracket here, and I'm going to multiply both sides by minus 1. Okay? Minus 1 multiplied by minus x. 1 by x is x, and then minus by minus is a plus, so that becomes a plus x, and then a minus 1 multiplied by 4. 4 by 1 is 4, and a minus by a plus is a minus. So it's x is equal to minus 4. That's something you mightn't have done yet. Okay, but we will be doing more of them. I'll go over here to C. C is 3x minus 9 is equal to minus 3. Okay, let's deal with this minus 9 first. So I want to get rid of this minus 9, so I'm going to plus 9 to both sides. Because when I plus 9 here, they cancel out. Now I'll just bring stuff down. 3x is still left on this side. Minus 3 plus 9 is plus 6. Now I want to get rid of this 3. And this 3 is beside the x, which means it's multiplied by the x. What's the opposite of multiplication? It's division. So I divide both sides by 3. And then these two 3's cancel each other out, and we're left with x is equal to 6 divided by 3, which is 2. That's C. Let's do D here. 10x minus 25 is equal to 5. All right, let's deal with this minus 25 first. What's the opposite of minus 25? It's plus 25. But because I'm plussing 25 to this side, I have to do it to the other side as well. So they cancel each other out, and I'm left with 10x is equal to 5 plus 25, which is 30. I want to get rid of this 10. This 10 is being multiplied by the x. What's the opposite of multiplication? It's division. But I have to divide both sides by 10. They cancel, and I'm left with x is equal to 30 divided by 10, which is 3. I'll just draw a line through there. And then E, 4x plus 1 is equal to 2x plus 7. Let's bring all the constants. The constants are the numbers without any letters. Let's bring them over to the right-hand side first. So 4x plus 1, what's the opposite of plus 1? It's minus 1, but I have to minus 1 to both sides. So they cancel each other out. So I'm left with 4x is equal to 2x plus 7 minus 1 is 6. Now, I want to get this here on the other side. So I have to get rid of this 2x. So I have to minus 2x. Now I have to do that to both sides. So they cancel each other out. And then 4x minus 2x. Look at that, they're both the same, they're both x. So it's 4 minus 2, which is 2x. And what's left here is 6. Now I want to get rid of this 2, so I divide both sides by 2, and they cancel each other out. And x is equal to 6 divided by 2, which is 3. Okay? Now, if you're checking, there you go, there's the answers. All right, let's move on to the next set of questions. So I'll just do a box here, and we will look at f first. F is 7x minus 1 equals 2x plus 14. Okay, let's bring all the numbers to the right first. So what's the opposite of minus 1? It's plus 1. So I have to do that to both sides. They cancel each other out. 7x equals 2x. 14 plus 1 is 15. Now I want to get anything beside an x or anything with a letter in it to the other side. So I need to subtract 2x from this side, and I need to do the same to both sides. They cancel each other out. 7x minus 2x is 5x. And that gives me 5x, and then what's left there is 15. I want to get rid of this 5, so I'm going to divide it. But I have to divide both sides by 5, because whatever I do to one side, I have to do to both. X gives me x is equal to 15 divided by 5, so x is equal to 3, because 5 goes into 15 3 times. All right, x is equal to 3. If you have any problems, just message me, okay? G. So we have x plus 4 equals 4x plus 10. All right, so we want to get the numbers that don't have any letters, the constants, on the right-hand side. So let's get rid of this 4 first. So we minus 4, but we have to do it to both sides. These cancel each other out. So we're left with x is equal to 4x plus 10 minus 4, so that's plus 6. Now, we have to get rid of this 4x and get it on the other side, so we're going minus 4x. And they cancel, and then we have to do that to both sides, sorry. They cancel each other out. So we're left with x minus 4x, which would give us minus 3x, is equal to 6. Now, I want to get rid of this minus 3. So I have to divide it by minus 3. But I have to divide both sides by minus 3. They cancel each other out. So x is equal to 6 divided by minus 3. That will give us a negative answer. It'll be minus 2. Now this is division, 6 divided by minus 3. So if I think about it, what's the opposite of division? It's multiplication. What number would I have to multiply minus 3 by to get 6? It would be minus 2, wouldn't it? Because if I multiply minus 2 and minus 3, I get plus 6. So multiplication is the opposite of division. So here we have division, but if I think of it in terms of what's the opposite, that's an easy way to remember. If you're dividing a positive number by a negative number, you'll get a negative answer. Because you can look at it from division or the opposite being multiplication. FGH. Minus 3x plus 5 equals minus 7x plus 11. Let's get rid of the numbers first. So minus 5, cancel each other out. We're left with minus 3x equals minus 7x. 11 minus 5 is 6. And then we are getting rid of the 7x here, so we're going to plus 7x to this side, because it's the opposite, and plus 7x to this side. They cancel each other out. Minus 3x plus 7x will be 4x, and 4x is equal to 6. So therefore, we want to get rid of the 4 here, so we divide this by 4. We divide that by 4 as well. They cancel. So x is equal to 6 divided by 4, which is a fraction. Can we simplify this fraction? If we divide the top and the bottom by 2, what would we get? If we divide this by 2, we would get 3. If we divide this by 2, we get 2, don't we? 3 over 2. X is equal to 3 over 2. That's the simplest fraction. If I wanted to write it as a decimal, I could write it as 1.5. HI. So we have 11 minus 3x is equal to minus 2x plus 9. Let's get rid of the constant here. So it's a minus 11 to cancel it out, but I have to minus 11 over here as well. So they cancel. And we'll rewrite the next one. Minus 3x is equal to minus 2x plus 11, or sorry, plus 9 minus 11. That would be minus 2. All right, now we want to get this to the other side. So we're going to divide, we're going to add 2x to both sides. Add 2x to both sides. They cancel each other out. So now we have minus 3 plus 2, which is minus 1x, which is the same as minus x, equals minus 2. How do I change this? Remember, we did it a few sums ago. If I have a minus x, I'm solving for x, not for minus x. Well, if I multiply both of these by minus 1, so I multiply that by minus 1, and then I multiply this as well by minus 1. So when I do that, minus 1 multiplied by minus x, and minus by minus gives me a plus. You just get x. And then minus 1 multiplied by minus 2 is 2. So x is equal to 2. All right, so now we'll move on to J. 4x minus 7 equals minus 7x plus 4. Let's deal with this number first. Plus 7 is the opposite, but I have to plus 7 to both sides. I'll just do the thing there. And they cancel. So we're left with 4x is equal to minus 7x. 7 plus 4 is 11. Okay, now I want to get this to the other side, so I'm going to plus 7x. but I have to do that to both sides. So that would be plus 7x as well. They cancel. 7 plus 4 is 11, so that would be 11x is equal to 11. We want to divide both sides by 11, and they cancel out, so you end up with x is equal to 11 over 11, or 11 divided by 11, which is 1. X is equal to 1. All right, these are the last few, and I know that there's a few extra ones in the question I gave you, but I'm only going to do A, B, C, and D. And I'm happy if you just do A, B, and C, and D. But if you manage to get some more done, that'd be brilliant. These are a little trickier because you have to multiply them out first before you sort them. So before we solve them, sorry. 3 multiplied by 2x minus 1 is equal to minus 15. So we have to multiply it out first. Remember, we'll be multiplying this 3 by whatever is inside the bracket, both terms. So 3 multiplied by 2x is 6x, because the 2 multiplied by 3, and we have the x. And 3 multiplied by minus 1 is minus 3. And then we have minus 15 over here. We want to get the numbers over to the right hand side. So, oh, sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. So we will get rid of this minus 3 by plus 3, adding a plus 3 to both sides. That cancels. So we're left with 6x is equal to minus 15 plus 3. That would be minus 12. So I want to get rid of the 6, so I'm dividing both sides by 6. They cancel. So we're left with x is equal to. Now, we have a negative number being divided by a positive. So this is division. So let's think of it in terms of the opposite of multiplication. Because division and multiplication are opposites. They're inverse. Sometimes you might hear inverse. They are opposite of each other. So what number would I have to multiply 6 by to make it become minus 12? 6 multiplied by minus 2 would give me minus 12. So minus 12 divided by 6 must be minus 2. And that's the answer to A. Let's do B here. We have minus 2y plus 7 equals 0. Let's multiply it out. Minus 2y, then minus 2 multiplied by plus 7 is minus 14 equals 0. We want to get the numbers to the right hand side, so I'm going to plus 14 to both sides. They cancel, so you're left with minus 2y equals 14, because 14 plus 0 is 14. Now we want to get rid of this minus 2, so I'm going to divide it by a minus 2. I'll divide both sides by minus 2. They cancel, so I'm left with y is equal to, again, just like before, let's think of it in terms of division and multiplication. So dividing 14 by minus 2. What number would you have to multiply minus 2 by to make it 14? It would be a positive number, because if we multiplied minus 2 by a negative number, it would become positive. So 14 divided by minus 2 goes 7 times, doesn't it? So y is equal to 7. Yeah. 7 multiplied by minus 2. Excuse me, that should be minus 7. Because minus 7 multiplied by minus 2 gives you plus 14. Yeah. Even I get confused with this and I have to double check it. So if you have a positive number being divided by a negative number, it's going to be a negative answer. So y is equal to minus 7. Now I'll do C here, and C is 6 multiplied by 1 minus 3, z is equal to minus 12. Let's multiply it out first. 6 by 1 is 6, 6 by minus 3 is 18, minus 18, and z, or z, and then we have minus 12. Okay, so I want to get rid of this 6, so I'm going to minus 6 to both sides, minus 6, minus 6. They cancel each other out, so I'm left with minus 18z on this side is equal to minus 12 minus 6, which is minus 18. Oh, look at this now. I'm going to have to divide this by minus 18, divide this by minus 18, because I have to do both sides. They cancel each other out, so I'm left with z or z is equal to a minus number divided by a minus number. So again, we think of it in multiplication terms. What would I multiply minus 18 by to get minus 18? So 18 divided by 18 is 1. And a negative number divided by a negative number is a positive. So z is equal to 1. Okay. Now d. This one is going to be a longer one. 5x minus 3 minus 2, 7x minus 4 equals 43. So we'll multiply this out first. We'll multiply it out like this. 5 by x is 5x. 5 by minus 3 is minus 15. And then minus 2 multiplied by 7 is minus 14. Minus 14x. And then minus 2 multiplied by minus 4 is plus 8. Because a minus by a minus is a plus. That equals 43. All right, let's get rid of these two numbers at the same time. Plus 15 here and minus 8 here, okay? So on this side, we're going to be plus 15 minus 8. And they cancel and they cancel. What's 5x minus 14x? It is minus 9x equals 43 plus 15 is 58. Minus 8 is 50. Am I right there? 10, 58, yeah. Minus 8 is 50, yeah. And then 5x minus 14 is 9, yeah. So now we need to divide this by minus 9 and divide this by minus 9. And these cancel each other out. And here we're left with a fraction. X is equal to 50 divided by minus 9. Now you could use a calculator, but I'm just going to leave it like that. It's fine like that. And that's your final answer. But if you use a calculator and you get the answer, that'll be fine too. And it will be a negative. It will be a negative answer.